If you're tired of being check to check and not fully understanding how to manage your money properly, then get ready for a full guide on the basics of financial intelligence. In the past, I used to get a check and watch it fly away simply because I had no structure. Then, when I actually did stop spending, I didn't know what to do with the money that I actually saved. So a year after that, I finally found some gems and financial tools to put my savings into. And now I know exactly where every dollar goes. In turn, I started my journey to financial freedom. This video is gonna show you exactly how to do the same thing and how easy and simple it's gonna be for you. So let's get into the video. Financial intelligence. You wanna look like this guy, right? With the suit, stepping out the bank, cash in his pocket. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial professional. I'm just going to be telling you what worked for me and what works for the people around me. This isn't how to get rich, but this is learning about some financial tools and how to manage your money and not go broke. Because you don't want to become this statistic. 59% of Americans don't have $1,000 in savings. You don't want to be in the majority, like I said. It's time to calculate your cost of living. What does it cost you to live? Necessities, rent, healthcare, and bills, and transportation, and absolutely everything you spend on. Oh my God, Sam, are you about to give us another free resource to use to help ourselves? Yes, of course I am. That's the whole point of this. There's a cost of living calculator in the description. This is what it looks like on the screen. On the left side, you're gonna be putting your rent or whatever you're gonna be paying per month. Then you put how much it costs you, how many times per month it gets charged, the day you pay it on, and it's gonna calculate exactly how much it costs for you to live per week, bi-weekly, monthly, and yearly. Go through the last 2 to 3 months of bank statements, find everything reoccurring, and put it in. Even haircuts and Amazon Prime. I personally order DoorDash every week at least one time. Usually costs me $20, right? I added that to my cost of living sheet because that's something I do. There's usually 1 or 2 days that I don't have food and I need to go grocery shopping that I consider the DoorDash a necessity. So you can make those decisions by yourself. Also add things you spend on consistently, like what I just said. That's very important to be honest with yourself. This might give you a headache now, but it will save you time and money in the future. Now let's get into how to split your check. You want your money neatly in little piles like this, except obviously not all in cash. My personal method, pay for your living expenses first, right? After you put in everything on that calculator, you take your check, pay whatever the living expenses are, and then you move on to the next part. 30% for taxes. If taxes are already taken out of your check, add this to the next part. For example, if you're a W-2 employee in the USA, you probably get taxes taken out of your check already, and at the end of the year, you don't have to pay any taxes, you usually get a refund. So if you are a W-2, just combine this and the next part. If you are a business owner, 30% for taxes. If you're 1099, 30% for taxes. 50% to savings and investments. We're gonna be doing an example, so don't worry. 15% to debt or side hustles or a want that you've been saving up for and isn't just an impulse buy. And then lastly, 5% fuck you money. If that 5% isn't enough for you, learn a higher value skill or stop buying expensive shit. We're using that 5% as a standard because that 5% could be $25 a week, that 5% could be $100 a week. It depends on how much you make. So the more you make, the more your fuck you money will be, and then maybe you could go to the strip club. Don't go to the strip club. Valuable skills you could learn. We're going back to this because if that 5% is not enough for you, try to learn one of these things. An example. Let's do an example real quick, right? Look at this pie chart. It's nice, no? So your salary is $1,125 a week, which is the average in the United States. Your living expenses per week are $625. You move it into a different account until the bills are due. Different account? What are you talking about, Sam? What different account? PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, regular savings account in your bank account. You can put it anywhere. Just put it away until you need it. Then you take 80% of the $500 that's left in this example, and you have $400. This goes to savings. If you are a 1099 employee or a business owner, this 80% will be split between 30 and 50. But like I said, if you get taxes taken out of your check, just do 80%. Then you do 15% of $500, $75. That goes to debt, or if you want to start a side business or something, 5% of $500, $25. That's fuck you money. Take that to the strip club. What are you gonna do with these savings? That 80% that you're saving, that's a shit ton of money for you, right? You're gonna put it into one of the things we're about to talk about. 1, Roth IRA. It's a retirement account you could pull money tax-free out of when you're 59 and a half. $7,000 max deposit per year. By the way, I don't know why it's a and a half, it just is what it is. No tax penalty if only withdrawing what you originally put in. For example, if I deposited $7,000, I choose to withdraw the $7,000 next year, I don't pay taxes on that. But there is a 10% tax penalty if you choose to withdraw the gains as well. If you put $7,000 in, you invested it in there, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you take $8,000 out, you're gonna get taxed on that $1,000 that you made in capital gains. Also, this does not accrue interest unless you actually buy something with the account's money. You can have the money sitting there, but it's not gonna do anything if it's just sitting there. Basically, the main benefit of this is if you plan to consistently max it out, you will guarantee $1 million minimum at retirement if you start before you're 25 years old and if you're maxing it out. So, you know, it's like $1 million when you retire, you know, it's tax-free. That's the point of it. Like I said, what funds do I buy, Sam? You're saying it's not gonna work unless you put funds in the account. What funds do I buy? Let's get into that. By the way, there's gonna be a cheat sheet for this too. Wow, how amazing, a cheat sheet for financial intelligence. I'm gonna start with index funds, a large group of small pieces of companies in one share. An example is the S&P 500 index, pieces of the top 500 companies in the US in one stock. So you're not just buying Apple, you're not just buying Amazon. You're buying small pieces of Apple and Amazon and Facebook and the top 500 companies all in one stock, and that's that. The average return for this is 9 to 12% over the last 20 years. Then we're gonna move on to mutual funds. It's like an index fund, but it's managed by someone or a group. Next, you could do a high yield savings. Companies that do it, Wealthfront, Charles Schwab, Amex, Barclays does it, SoFi does it. There's a ton of companies. You get 3 to 5% APY rather than 0 to 1% with your normal savings account. We'll move on to bonds. These go for terms of 6 months to 20 years. You're basically loaning the government for a period of time. It's government backed. So, you know, if the economy is strong in the government that you're buying the bonds from, for example, the US, you're most likely going to be all right. You get 3 to 6% return. If you are buying foreign bonds from, you know, third world countries and stuff, you might get a higher return, but it's also more risky. Then precious metals, pure gold and silver, good protection against inflation. When you are getting precious metals, just make sure you could buy jewelry and stuff. Just make sure you know what you're buying, 14 karat, 18 karat. Where do I buy all these things? Well, for one, it's all going to be on a cheat sheet at the end of this, but let's go over this real quick. I personally use Vanguard for my Roth IRA and my index funds. You could buy funds within the IRA. You just open an account and deposit. You could purchase funds through there. I recommend Vanguard's S&P 500 fund, 0% fees. The ticker is VOO. You're not limited to buying. You don't have to buy $500 worth. You could buy $100, $50. You could also use Fidelity or other brokerages to buy mutual funds, index funds, bonds. All these companies are very similar. Vanguard, Fidelity, they all do the same thing. For gold and silver, you find stores near you. Order online from these websites, AppMex, SD Bullion, and JM Bullion. Just make sure if you're buying nearby, you go to places with good reviews, you know, trustworthy places. And an honorable mention is Bitcoin, the only crypto that major institutions have poured millions into. You can hold long term, but it is a higher risk than the other options here. Why? Because it's just Bitcoin. It's just a digital thing. No substance there. Yippee! It's time to get rich, dog. Hopefully you'll take these tools that I just showed you and build a financial foundation for yourself. If you want a full A to Z guide on how I took control of my life and how you can too, click here. If minimalism is more your style, click here. Either way, if you found this video helpful at all, please leave a like and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.